You're listening to ProBooth Talk, education and insights for photo booth company owners.
All right, welcome to ProBooth Talk. It's been a while since we've recorded. How are you doing, Lab?
Hi, Jason. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us again.
So recently, everyone knows that I'm the past president of the Las Vegas Wedding Chamber of Commerce. And recently I participated over there. We launched our own headshot photo booth bid, and we wanted to kind of debut it there to do some tests and whatnot. And I was fortunate to go to this event because they don't often have educational speakers, and they had one of this event. And whenever I hear someone speaking about SEO, I'm always kind of like half paying attention because a lot of them I feel like don't really know what they're talking about. But this one caught my attention really quick, and I had to introduce myself afterwards and invite her on the show. Franisha was a phenomenal speaker, and I'm overjoyed to have her join us today. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you so much, Jason and Lab, for having me. I am Franisha Hayes. I have been in the industry for 11 years now, doing everything from web design, data analytics to SEO, and I am currently the director of marketing at a company called KMJ. We've been in business for 22 years now. And so for me, I know the whole wheelhouse SEO is more than just the keywords on your website. It's also about the design, the alt tags, it's the user friendliness, how you navigate people through the website. So I've learned quite a bit in the wheelhouse of SEO and design since being here and in this industry.
Like I was kind of outlining in my intro there, I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's because SEO changes so frequently. I feel like a lot of people just read a couple articles and jump in and try to be an expert. But you've lived through all those changes and evolutions of SEO because it is like a living monster. Like it is constantly changing. Like anyone that knows, like you could get your site perfect SEO, first page on Google, and the next day it's non-existent because, some little change or whatnot. So
just had a meeting this morning, and one of our clients, we're fighting this visibility issue where he's been great, first page, second page for the longest, and then we went through all these website changes and overhauls, and his visibility dropped for the past 2 months, and now we are back on page 1. So it was a fight for sure, but it's exactly what you said. Things are always changing. The way people search and think change from day to day.
That one in particular, obviously, whenever you make changes, everything needs to be kind of like recrawled or whatnot and recategorized. Mm-hmm. Were you mostly just waiting for that to happen, or did you have to go make corrective changes so the algorithm would see it again?
Yeah. So usually when you do design changes to your website, whether it's when I say design, specifically like a huge overhaul or something that has to do with the URLs on your pages, the key terms on your pages, and also the alt tags that are on your images. If you change any of those elements on your website, whether it's 1, 2, or a lot, you need to go to your Google Search Console and resubmit that physically to Google. It doesn't just happen on its own.
The website itself?
But it'll take time. So you definitely want to go to your Google Search Console and resubmit that URL and check and make sure that it's being indexed on Google. And then from there, Google has to gather its data from users who is searching for this keyword or this content, and then it'll start to place you.
Yeah, so I know nothing about SEO. I know I've talked with Jason about this before. What can you explain to me what are alt tags and how do we apply alt tags? Is that to images? Is that to...
Yeah, I guess that's a good place to start. Like break it down. A lot of people probably don't even... Yeah. What is SEO actually? Let's start there.
So, yeah.
I know that much, but yes.
SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. And I think the biggest thing, just starting with that, is your organic is SEO. All of your organic work is we're going to start there because people do have a misunderstanding as well between what Google Ads does and what your organic does for you. SEO is going to always fall under your organic, and it doesn't just pertain to your website either. You have on-site SEO, you have off-site SEO. So all the things that you do on your website are your keywords, your alt tags, which we were talking about. Your alt tags are alternative tags. So let's say you do a search and you get these images come up. It's because the keyword your alternative tag is actually on the back end of your picture. So you put those on the pictures and then you come up in search results for images for that word. And without having those there, then your pictures won't come up either. So it's not just what you see on the main Google search page. Some people search for keywords to look for visuals. If you want your visuals to come up or your content to come up, make sure those alt tags are on your pictures. And also videos have sections for it to go on your video as well. And usually the alt tag, you don't want it to just be the keyword. You want it to be descriptive as well. Alt tags are used for ADD, the American Disability Act. So online, if someone can't visually see something, the code or the code readers for people who are blind or impaired, visually impaired, it'll actually read what this visual is. So let's say we have a podcast image. The alt tag would say Black female, yellow bow in her hair discussing SEO, so but you want to have those in there so I can read it out. But yeah, that's what SEO is. We got on-site and off-site.
So as far as titling things, it sounds like you're not doing any kind of like keyword stuffing. You're just being true and descriptive of what it actually is.
Yes. I don't want to jump the gun, but yes, that's part of you said keyword stuffing. That's part of the black hat stuff that would, what is it? Black hat SEO. That's part of some of the things that would get you marked down by Google.
What is black hat SEO? That's a completely new term to me, you guys.
It comes up actually in our forums a little bit because there are some people in the photo booth world who promote themselves as SEO experts, and there's a lot of discussion on their tactics and if they are or are not black hat tactics. But I'll let you field that answer. Certainly can do it better than me.
Yeah, Jason, you make a great point about the keyword stuffing. So it's one of the major components that in the very beginning of doing SEO, that was what people was used to in the very beginning of the internet, just putting a whole bunch of key terms on their website. The verbiage didn't even make sense. We just want to get people here to this site because we knew at that time that's how search worked, whether it was Ask Jeeves or Yelp or Yahoo or Google. That's how search works. But now Google prioritizes human language, natural language. That's basically what the Google algorithm is. Machine learning that processes natural language, which is how we speak. A lot of times people like to just put the keyword SEO or wedding chamber, and it was something that was discussed in our topic. A lot of people want to know what that specific word is that they can use to rank. But if everyone in the wedding industry used the same keyword, no one would be ranking. It's about having that niche content that is special to you, that's really detailed and specific to you. What separates your wedding business from everyone else who has a chapel and who DJs for weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In general, keyword stuffing, it's funny because a lot of the things I think that are black hat now, probably, like you kind of mentioned, were general practice back in the day, and things just evolved. Like I remember, like even going further with keyword stuffing, like clear back in the day. This is like in the late 90s, early 2000s, on different things that we were doing, or different businesses I was involved in. We would actually just throw tons of keywords in there and just change the color of the text to the same color. Yeah, change the text to the same color as the background, so they just looked invisible. But, Google still saw them. And then, of course, Google's like, we don't want that. That doesn't help us.
And that is for sure element still that people try today. Like you'll see these very wonky looking websites that look like they could possibly still be using Flash. Even Google does not care for Flash anymore either.
I don't know what that is, what Flash is, you guys. I know nothing about websites.
It is.
Just know if you see someone using Flash, you'd probably know that's, even without you knowing it's Flash, you would know it's not right.
You're like, this website feels 20 years old.
Can you guys share some insight exactly what the pitfalls of black hat SEO is? Like, what is the reason why we want to avoid that altogether? Because I know nothing about this.
So Google will rank, I'm not even going to say ranking down. They will you'll be negatively impacted, and even, what's the word I'm looking for? You'll
Blacklisted,
have
I
to
guess.
basically, yeah, you'll have to appeal.
Blacklisted?
Yeah, they'll remove you from Google. You will be temporarily banned from Google. So, and then you have to
Yeah.
go through the process of getting an appeal and then cleaning up your site and everything. So,
Yeah, because Google, of course, is a business as well, and it built its business on providing reliable search results. And if
mhm,
you are cheating the system to make their search results not reliable, if people are using Google
yeah,
and getting shitty results, then people are going to stop using Google. So Google,
mhm,
if sees you doing any of those creative things to sneak past and get your way
yeah,
to the front without actually being relevant, then they'd rather just kick you off their search engine
yeah.
completely.
Yeah, and some of those things can consist of like duplicating copy from a website. So instead of you creating authentic copy, you can go to somebody else's website. I'm going to use the wedding industry specifically because I know it's heavy out here in Las Vegas, and it's easy to go and take what somebody else is doing, which is essentially marketing, and just do it better. But a lot of people don't take and do it better or change it. A lot of people, it's easy to plagiarize. So just like you'll get marked down in school for plagiarism, that's exactly what Google is doing. If you're taking content from someone's site and repurposing it as your blog, it's totally fine to share someone's blog from your site, like take some copy, but make it authentically yours, link back to that site so you can get some linking. Those are all great techniques,
Mhm.
but don't just copy paste and as it is, it's going to take it as duplicate copy. And also there's
Yeah.
another,
And to expand on that, just a little bit before you move on, you could actually plagiarize yourself as well. So when you're doing like your wedding wire bio and your not bio and your Yelp bio, if you're just copy and pasting all of that stuff that's the same stuff on your website, and that's has the same negative results as you stealing it from
yep.
another site and putting it on
Oh,
yours.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yes, that's where I was going at. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
exactly,
Sorry. Well, sorry
Jason.
to interrupt that.
No, that's right on time because, literally just did this, where we have a client who needed to take a blog post from their main site until they get a real post for their new site, and they're relevant, except this site, it's still being built on and they needed some blog posts. So we did take that duplicate content and put it there, but we also canonicalized the URL to where it's telling Google this is the main content. There may be some duplicate content on the web somewhere, but this is what we want indexed in search engines. So it'll keep you from getting that negative hit, that negative impact.
So besides like keyword stuffing, what are some other very basic mistakes that people make that end up getting their websites completely removed before we move away from blacklisting or black hat?
Link buying and selling,
Oh
exactly what
yeah,
you
I
said
see that a
too.
lot.
Hidden texting links, like you said, changing the background color,
What
cloaking.
is buying multiple links? What is the benefit of someone doing that for their website? And
So you have, I don't know if you've ever had someone to reach out in your email and say, hey, we can help grow your SEO because we can connect you with this person or that person and add links to their website. So what link building is, let's say like Yelp has your links, or you even have someone, a partner that you do business with, and they post your content. It's basically a referral source to your website. And you can buy links to fake sources that have absolutely nothing to do with your business. And they will place it on their website and traffic will come to your website. And it doesn't even have to be authentic traffic. It might not even be traffic that are leads. So, and we see this a lot on social media where not specifically links, but bot comments or bot like fake
Likes and engagement.
fake likes and engagement. And that's exactly what you will get with link buying. You'll get fake engagement, fake traffic.
So links, and again, just going back to Google wanting to produce relevant results, it has tons of algorithms, obviously, that we don't know that prioritizes different sites. And some of that includes like, how long do people stay on this website? How relevant was it to those people? And another one is links to and from your website. So if, for example, a news source or a government website or things like that are linking to your website, then Google says, hey, this news source or this government entity is linking to this website, so it must be more relevant. It must be more important and more real. So it helps in the ranking. So you have people that create fake government websites and say, we'll give
just
you,
for the stats.
you know,
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Because the better the more quality the site, the better your site is going to rank, because you're already on a high quality site, a verified site. And that's, Google likes verification. Google likes real sources, real references, real content.
So legitimate backlinks would benefit you for SEO, just not buying them just to stuff your page for numbers, basically.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, people
how
do these
relevant are
things for their
backlinks
own
still?
reasons. They're very, very relevant. For me, I think of backlinks as a partnership. You want to grow your business, you need to find those partners that are relevant. And business genuinely does it alone, even though we have a lot of late nights and early mornings on our own. You need a team to kind of help you grow and really get some of those things done, or it's going to be half done. And I feel like that about link building. The links are your partners. So when you think about those partners or those companies that align well with you, or people that you have done business with, whether it's their logo or your logo linking back, or a testimonial, anything that has a link that says, hey, go to this website because we have done business, we verified, and this is great.
Similar to like a virtual referral almost.
Exactly.
So practically, from a photo booth standpoint, since everyone that's listening are photo booth owners, or the majority of them, this would be, I assume, like people that you partner with, like maybe DJs or photographers, venues, wedding planners, things like that, reaching out and asking if they would put links to your website. And also
showing they have a relationship with you.
Yeah. An organic link building is a thing. Like, you don't even have to really do. Some people do outreach monthly and they go, hey, we align with you. I'd like to place this blog on your website, or, guest blogging and talk and refer traffic back. But then you have some people who just do business with each other genuinely. And they, like you're saying, you got your photo booth owner, you're looking to link with DJs, and you're in this industry where a lot of people align. If you're doing business consistently with that one person, and that one person has a great ranking site, share that content, post it on your site and vice versa. And even on your other platforms. Because again, SEO is not just about your website. It's about what you have going on your other channels as well, organically. Because Facebook will come up in your Google search results. Yelp will come up in your Google search results, blogs, video content. All of that is your offsite SEO ecosystem working.
Wow. So that was one of my questions. You mentioned offsite SEO earlier. And I was going to ask to clarify that, but I think you just did. So offsite SEO is essentially the partner sites like Wedding Wire, Yelp, as well as like social media, anywhere that's got you listed. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And on the same subject of links, on one of my own like website audits recently, the tool I was using mentioned that I didn't have enough internal links on a specific page. And I never realized that was relevant to be linking within my own website, because we have like the menu bars and all of that.
Yeah.
So you have that, you have backlinks, and it also wants you to link to other people's websites. So there's
then you want to make sure that there's like no follow on some of the links. So you don't want Google to follow your clicks out of your website either. So, some things you want it to be a no follow on the back end. Some things you do want that click to follow. And so you know where that data led to after they left your site.
So give me an example of what type of site. Like right now, the majority of our external links are going to like Yelp reviews or Google reviews. Should those be followed, or what's an example of?
I think those are like no follows, because it's an external link that, has something to do with your site, but they're leaving your site to go look at some other information that they could have possibly gotten on your site, rather to leave a review.
Good example of a follow link.
So would YouTube be a good follow link?
No.
Like, because
you want, so I'm going to say stay away from like the third party sites that people can find on their own. So you want them to follow. A follow link would be one of those partners that I'm talking about somebody
Okay.
that's relevant in your industry, or even linking internally to in your own site. So usually you don't want it to follow anything that's linking outside to an outside source that has nothing to do with you. And if it does have something to do with you, you want it to be like a specific article or something that you are involved in. But if it's to a third party site like Yelp, YouTube, something like that, they already have that information on your website. Google knows that this is linked to that website and this is your profile related to this website. So there's no reason to follow, if that makes sense.
I think it'll make sense to some people and not a lick of sense to other people. That's okay. It's a learning
Yeah.
process.
It's a very small detail, honestly. Probably not one of the huge ones that's gonna mess with your ranking factors heavily, but to know I'm going to say this, if you're on a WordPress site and you have certain SEO plugins available, so Yoast or Rank Math, something like that, it'll let you know, it'll recommend to you, let's make this a no follow, or it'll say, hey, you have links on this page that are no follow that need to be followed. So
how do you
for
feel about
those
plugins? Like I use them pretty religiously, and I feel like
Mhm.
they've given me really good results and helped me. I mean, obviously it's nothing like knowing what you're doing, but to say like,
Yeah.
you don't have enough connective words in here are things that I would have never thought of on my own. Are those?
I absolutely love them. It brings some understanding to the people who definitely didn't start where I started, for sure, with actually putting keywords in the freaking CSS and the HTML. It's definitely helpful. I'm going to say that it's helpful. But for the person who is going to be in the position that I am in and trying to play this type of role, I think a combination of knowing the foundation, knowing how to read between the header code and the body code and where these keywords should be placed, where Google is reading in that code, to pick that up. I think that's important to learn for anybody who's going to be in this role. But if you just need to know to get it done and not really care about the explanations and the whys about it, I think those tools are amazing.
So they could be amazing for me because I don't want to learn all the details of SEO. I just want to rank my own site and focus on photo booths. But what about to you? Is that a tool that you incorporate as well in your own SEO?
I do, mainly because a lot of our clients, some of them will go get hands-on on their own, and it's easy to show them what this is saying or over the code. Like, it's easy to say, this is performing well and all these are it's hitting all the markers, versus me showing some code and saying, look, I placed all these things here and it's saying Google is going to rank it well. So for me, it's the difference between, I guess, being able to explain so that our client understands what's going on.
And it does do a really good job at breaking it down very simple as like, green, happy face, or, it's very, very user friendly.
Yeah.
On one side I use Yoast, and another one I use All-in-One SEO or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, personally, I'm undecided. Like there's attributes of each one that I really love. Do you have one that you recommend or one that's your favorite?
Mm-hmm. I personally use Rank Math. I used Yoast for a very long time, but Rank Math it allows me more flexibility without having to pay for the pro plan. So I can have multiple keywords on one page, where Yoast, I can only use that one unless I pay for the pro plan. I think I get like 5 or 6, which helps with keyword variation. So where somebody might say photo booth companies in Las Vegas, someone else might say photo booth near me. So having different variations in there. Yep, Rank Math is my favorite right now.
Okay. I have to write that down and take a look. Let's see, on the subject, you mentioned like photo booths in Las Vegas. Before we recorded, we posted in our community Facebook group that we are going to have you on, and asked if people had any questions. And one of them was kind of along that line. So they said that they have ranked well in their local market, but want to start marketing to a neighboring city, and they're worried that that's going to affect their local SEO that they've done really well. What are your thoughts on that, and how can they approach expanding to another city?
It's multiple things. Is the city, when you say another city, is it within the same state, I guess? So like Los Angeles, you have.
Yeah, exactly. So us being in Vegas, it's kind of like we're one community, like Henderson is Vegas, and Green Valley and it's all one place, but like Lap is in LA and you have all these neighboring
Right.
cities, so you could market really hard to
Different counties.
yeah,
Right.
Orange
And
County,
that's-
LA County, San Bernardino County.
Exactly. So for sure, that's one thing that comes into play when you say a different city. Because I have had people want to bust out into a whole new market where they're in San Francisco and then they do want to go to LA, different personality types. And it can be the same said for Henderson versus North Las Vegas, different personality types. As far as SEO, I would say if you are going to have multiple, like a franchise, let's say multiple businesses like that, and they're in different locations, create separate Google My Business accounts for that so that it's really specific to where that jurisdiction is and what your offerings are at this location compared to that location, even if they're the same. So it's going to help your SEO based on where you are. If you've ever done a search for EOS Fitness, it'll give you EOS in Henderson, EOS in Las Vegas, on all sides of town. And they all have different locations, even though they're one company. So
Right.
that helps with your SEO. But if you're just one, you don't have multiple locations and you're just looking to expand out into a new market, I would say focus on your website, your on-site key terms, and your off-site, with the content you're putting out, making sure you're saying and actually marketing and saying, hey, we are expanding here. We're going to be located here, and mentioning those locations in your content, because then it's going to start coming up in the wheelhouse with the keywords and the location. So really I mentioned Google has been a machine learning thing with its algorithm since the beginning. It's still very much machine learning. It has to learn what we want, what we need, what you're doing. So once it realizes that, hey, this location has already been here, but now we're seeing new words coming from this location. Maybe we need to start bringing it up for these things. Or, the website is hitting all these markers for location, for keyword. You're relevant now to Google. Let's start to rank you up. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I did create a new question, though. I didn't know that you could have multiple Google My Businesses. I thought that was tied directly to your website.
No, you can have multiple listings, but you definitely need to verify them. It'll verify through the address. I think so, but it does not take PO boxes.
So what if, for example, I'm in Las Vegas and I wanted to come start crushing Laps Market? So I wouldn't have an address there. So I wouldn't be able to do a Google My Business since I don't have an actual address.
You can. You just don't have to display the address. It won't take a PO box, but you can say I'm located in Los Angeles and I do business in this vicinity within, a certain amount of
You still have to give
miles.
them a mailing address, though. What mailing address do you give them? The Las Vegas one or the LA one? I don't know why I'm trying to help you, Jason.
I'm not coming to LA.
You do have to give them a mailing address so you can verify, but you don't have to have an actual location, no.
So you would just give them your actual mailing address back in Las Vegas. Okay.
And they'll verify and do what it needs to do.
I remember they used to push for blogging, like heavy blogging to like increase your SEO. Is that still a thing, or do blogs not have the same impact as they did? Or
blogs are very much relevant. They're going to stay relevant. I think, honestly, blogging is like a library. You think a library is going to, with all the digital stuff we have now, libraries are still rolling strong.
That's interesting to me because my friend here locally, Matt, he owns myweddingsongs.com, and it's an informational website, and he's always ranked well, but Google just completely dropped his site and tons of other information-based sites because there's so many information sites springing up with the onset of AI, just creating fake informational sites. So Google has kind of restructured and started pushing things like Reddit, where people are actually interacting up forward, and it's really killed its business. So I'm surprised that blogs still hold that much weight when people can just use AI to create that content, and it's becoming almost irrelevant.
So what it is exactly what I was saying about AI before, is the ones who are not, I'm going to say the people who are just using straight AI and not doing any alterations to the content, they are going to take the hits the most, because Google does recognize this is not authentic. This is not real. This was made. And even with that, there's some limits to it, because we have some AI tools that have been made to write like humans. But then you still get this outpush of the same type of start, define and discover and all these different things that are still very the same as AI. With that being said, authentic user content is one of the reasons why Reddit ranks so high, because this is real people talking about their real experiences and giving real information. That's always going to be prioritized by Google. But then you have, when you're writing blogs and it's a real blog written by you, even if you use AI to get it started, you have the foundational knowing to say, hey, these are all the details that I know that'll resonate with a real human, a real person. Because at the end of the day, a real human is still the person who determines if I'm going to click on that link, if I'm going to go to this website and browse, even though AI is bringing this up. Google's machine learning is the reasons why it's learned humans.
Right.
Even though we have AI, we are still the element that is pushing search, determining the algorithms, determining the keywords. It's learning from us. So what we blog, what we push out, the more real it is, the better we're going to be in the results. But if we continue to prioritize AI content, if as creators we continue to stay lazy in our work, there's definitely a real fear for me. My fear isn't that AI is going to take over. My fear is that the human race is going to get dumber because we don't know the foundational tools. We're like, I can just ask AI. It's kind of similar to back, when was that, the early 2000s, where we had the commercial where it's like, how do you know? The internet told me.
Yeah.
Everything on the internet is not true. It goes, cite your sources. And it's the same with AI. Make sure
AI
that those
especially not always accurate, and it will make up sources.
Right. The
What?
sources are us. We are the sources. So hence why I feel like the human race will get more dumbed down if we don't continue to feed it real information from people who are actually doing the work and know the foundations of a lot of this. So people like me, very important. We're the ones feeding these algorithms. We're the one feeding Google. And then even you guys as businesses, the things you're looking for, the things you want, how you search, what you search for. Because even long before we got to AI bringing up search results, again, with the machine learning, we have had results come up where you don't ever have to click on the website for many years already. It gives you a quick description. If that's what you're looking for and that's the answer, you won't even go browse the site. Whether it came from Wikipedia or even Google itself, it never said AI there before. It was just really quick answer to what you were looking for. So those are called non-click search results or non-click SEO. You won't ever know that you delivered some valid information to someone because your content was so clean and good to where you came up in this non-clickable search result.
Yes.
So I think it's all about how you develop your content and how real it is to people.
Yeah,
It's
I've been
less
using
about
that non-clickable area. I've never even given any mind, but it's become more and more relevant. So that's an interesting take on that. Like with AI, it's very interesting because like in the beginning, which was just like several months ago, which is just insane. Everyone was saying
right.
like, don't use AI on your website because Google is blacklisting. But I mean, more and more people are going to continue to use it, and Google's going to have to start accepting AI because everyone uses it, and not only all of us, but Google. Like Google is doing its own AI engine, and it's relying heavily on AI.
I think
So
that's
it's really
the thing
hard to
for me.
blacklist. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me. Everyone knows AI for what they know AI to be, whether it's this robot from iRobot taking over the world or what's going on in the Tesla cars. For me, when I speak about AI on search engines, it's already been here. Artificial intelligence is literally how we have gotten to the point to where everybody thinks because I was talking about something, now it's being showed up in my ads or on my telephone, like they're listening to me. It started way back when Snowden was like, oh, the government's listening to us on our computers and stuff, and nobody believed it. We had machine learning back then. The name has just changed. It's artificial intelligence.
And it's
We've
just
been
gotten
learning.
a lot better.
Yeah, and I think that the understanding that people have about what it is It's everything that comes up on social. I feel like everybody's like, oh, that's AI. Everything isn't AI. We have amazing people who do Photoshop. We have amazing videographers. We have some really talented people who make things happen. And I think the general population can't tell the difference between what is AI and what is not, and also doesn't understand you guys have been using AI in a lot of different things already, from searching on Google and the keywords and trying to place. The name is just changed and the way we understand it is different.
So this has been so far very overwhelming for myself and probably most people listening. So I guess my next question, like, what is the bare minimum that someone should be doing themselves? And at what point should we just say, you know what, I'm not getting the results that I want, and this is overwhelming. I want to sell photo booths, not spend hours and hours a day doing my website and start looking for someone to help.
Mm-hmm. Well, I say if you're going to do it yourself, the bare minimum is for sure the on-site keywords, off-site, your content writing. So whether it's producing blogs, you don't even have to produce a whole bunch. You can do like once a month. It's just something very industry niche to you and which your spell. Making sure that your listings are up to date and accurate as well. So your Yelp, your Bing, your Google My Business. I know a lot of people don't probably think that Bing and Yahoo is relevant, but that's another part of my offsite SEO. Although it's for Google, other search engines also use your website and keywords. So I set up Bing Places. I set up Yahoo for business as well, and make sure, because what Bing and Yahoo does is they can sync with your Google My Business account, and it helps your search results as well. So making sure all of those are in line and connected. I'm making sure that you have your Google Search Console linked and connected as well. And then once you have all those things in place and you feel like you're still not where you should be, then I think it's time for you to start shopping around for an expert. And I'm going to say the things you should stay away from are the people who guarantee first place and first page results, because
Which
SEO
is 95%
is less.
of the companies.
Yeah, it's less about, honestly, your return on investment. It does not guarantee, just because you're in first place on the ranking doesn't mean somebody's going to purchase from you. It's all about how your consumers connect with you, and people purchase because they believe in your product, they trust in what you're saying, and you are an authentic source. So, and those are things that Google look at: your authenticity, how, if you're looked at as an industry leader, those are the same reasons people purchase from you and the same reasons that Google is ranking you.
Yeah.
So if you're looking, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say, this is an incredible skill set and something that takes people years to learn to do well. So when we see people that are posting in like our photo booth groups and saying, I'll do your SEO for this much, I'm a photo booth company and I got my page to first page of Google and the first listing or whatnot. Like there's so many variables to that. Like your website's going to be so different from there. So their market's going to be so different wherever they're at, their demographic. Just because they were successful with their site, please don't just hire someone that does photo booths that did well with their own site. Hire someone that actually knows what they're doing with SEO first. And not photo booths first.
I love that. It's something I'm teaching at one of my workshops about. We're doing brand strategy, and it's just because something is working, exactly what you said, it's working for one person in the same industry doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You're a whole different personality type. Your values align differently from that other person. Same industry, different audience of people who are going to support you, because you are you and that person is them.
So you were going to say something like?
I was gonna say, if you're looking for a specialist, like what kind of questions should you be asking for, and like what kind of things would be like a red flag in terms of answers? I know you said someone who guarantees first page, but is there anything else that isn't so in your face that you should be, that's more subtle that you should be paying attention to?
I'm gonna say it's really easy to get caught up in the marketing jargon. What frustrates me is I will meet people and they were marketing jargon me all the way out. And I try not to. Certain situations, it's hard for me Like I'll try to bring the conversation down, but certain words definitely mean certain words to me. But I don't want to just throw marketing jargon. I will try to speak in a way to where you understand it. So how I was talking about the partnerships and the link building and, making that make sense. If the person you're speaking with doesn't know how to make it make sense to you, then I would say be a little wary of that, because if you only know how to speak technical speak, you could be telling me anything, like anything that doesn't make sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to me and you can't make it make sense, then I don't really know what I'm paying for, I guess.
Yeah, and I
Those
would
are,
say if you're going to hire someone, still like on that same note that you're talking about, like still get a basic knowledge so that you just know what to check, just so you know what they're talking about, and you'll know
yeah,
if they're because the results are slower. So people could get frustrated and say, this has been 6
yeah,
weeks or 8 weeks and I'm not seeing results. But if
yeah,
you have an understanding of what's going on and have a basic knowledge of SEO, then you'll understand why that is, and you'll know
yeah.
that they're not lying when they tell you that it takes a little bit of time. So it's just important to have a base.
What is a comfortable pace of time for you to start seeing results? Are we talking months? Are we talking weeks? Are we talking days? Hours?
Honestly, it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and then you'll kind of just stabilize, and the keywords are going to do what they need to do. And at that point, you need to start looking at other channels. There's a such thing as maxing out what you can do on a channel. There's a lot of companies don't run full marketing campaigns. They say, hey, I need social media management, or I need email marketing. What do you do when nobody is responding on those channels, or very little is responding on those channels? Like, you've maxed out what you can do. And SEO is one of those things you can really max out what you do on your website. So you need to move off of the site and start focusing on those elements. So what you're doing in person, what you're doing on social, what you're doing in your email. Once your keywords are all set and your content is good, you really just need to monitor your competition. If your competition changes their keywords and their content and it moves them to rank up, then you need to adjust what you're doing. And also, I look more at less on the specific rank on Google and more at when I'm looking at the data specifically for monthly keyword data. We'll choose maybe 4 to 5 keywords that the client wants to focus on. And then we look at the movement of those keywords. Sometimes people, like I said, what people might think to use today might not be the same words they use tomorrow for the same service. So you really want to keep an eye on your competitors and what your audience is doing in their search and how the audience is changing. And we're getting a younger generation coming up being adults. But how they're going to search for parties and balloons is going to be completely different for how we currently search for balloons and parties.
Yeah, a direct example in our own industry that I've personally been witnessing recently is so years ago, Vogue at the 2016 Met Gala did this light tunnel activation, and the photo booth industry quickly, replicated that, and that became known as the Vogue booth because it was done by Vogue. And so when people reached out to you asking for Vogue, that was what they were talking about. But recently, a couple of years ago, someone created a magazine box with a plexiglass front, and for whatever reason, they chose the Vogue magazine to represent that. So over the past couple weeks, I've been having people ask me if I've got Vogue, and I'd reply, yeah, we've got the Vogue, and I'd send them pricing for the tunnel, and they're like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. So, it's completely changed. That the product name does not mean the same thing anymore.
Yeah, so keeping an eye on your content, your competition, and your users, because honestly, we might think we think we know who our audience is, and we think that we know the words that they're using because we created this business, but the user and the client is really the person who's molding our business and molding search results for us and telling us what they want. We can't continue to say, hey, this is what you want, when they're telling us this is what they want.
That's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn, that you can't always tell people what they want. Yeah. Let me go back to our post here. I remember there was one question that I did not add to our list that I noticed. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, just to close that out, though, that's why I look at the data for the specific term in general, because if it's going down and another term is going up, then we're going to change some of we're going to change it on your website to use this new term and probably adjust the content.
So I'm just going to read this one because it's kind of long and I don't want to try
Mhm.
and summarize it. I've been wanting to set up a keyword tracking system of some kind to keep tabs on how many times I'm using various keywords and long tail keywords, but it's an absolute mess to keep track of once you start to have a lot of content you want to track, like blog posts. I don't know if there's any programs or plugins that can do this, but if there is, and also I don't know what long tail means. But
So long
anyways.
tail keywords are like, so that's part of that natural language where we don't just search and say photo booths. I say, when I go to search, I say, I'm holding a party and I need a photo booth for 3 to 4 hours. Like we type how we, so that's long tail. You need to have that type of content in your like your website isn't just saying photo booths. It's literally saying, welcome to my website. I'm located in Las Vegas. I have photo booths of this size, that size. The more content you have in there where it speaks like this person, it's going to come up. You see in search where it's bold, what you typed is bold in the search results. It's because that person had exactly what you typed in their website, rather it was 3 words or that exact sentence. So natural language is so important in your content because of that. So those long tail keywords. So it could be 2 to 3 terms. And then talking about tools, Yoast doesn't really let you use long-term keywords. They want you to use just single words, or if you use like triple keywords, long tail words, that's supposed to be one together. Yoast will be like, oh, that's too long.
So not much, but as far as the first part of that question, tracking your keywords and how often, let me pull that back up.
The way I go about that, honestly, I'm very much hands-on with what I do. I need to get in there and see. So I go through and I have a Google spreadsheet where I have the page, the page on the website, what that is, instead of putting all the content in there, I'll probably add a link to that page so I can review it, or even have a Google Doc with the content broken out in it so I can edit it. Just making sure that is linked all in this spreadsheet so I can just click to it and open what I need. But I track in spreadsheets, add my page, my key term, and the focus of the content.
And I feel like Yoast actually does that a bit too. Like if you put in your keyword, it'll tell you, you need that in more alt image tags, or it's not in your content enough, or it should be up in this part more. So as far as tracking it, I feel like one of those plugins would be a good starting point also.
Yeah. It'll tell you if you miss those points, but it doesn't specifically. I guess I took that question as like, for me, like when visibility drops or, issue happens in SEO, I can go back and look and say, hey, it's essentially, I guess, a change document. This is what was initially on the website on this page for keyword content and so on. This is what we changed it to, and it changed on this date, the keyword, the URL, the content. So tracking in that way is how I took it, and less of, because there's a reason for tracking it like that as well. I'm just trying to see how many times you use that keyword.
Yeah, that sounds like that's probably what they're looking for. You're right.
Yeah, I use a Google spreadsheet for that. Honestly, it's the easiest. One thing working here at KMJ I've learned is don't rely on technology, even though we rely on technology. And that's like spell check, checking your broken links. Yeah, go through it's time consuming, but get to know your business and go through your data and know it better than anybody else knows it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do my own SEO, but this discussion makes me feel like I need to not be doing my own SEO. We do pretty well, but there's so much that you're mentioning that we're not doing.
And you feel like it'll make improvements to what you already have done?
Yeah, I mean, we're ranked pretty high for general terms, but we want to expand into different areas. I mean, we're building those pages out right now and stuff, but I think it's more because we're already ranked high. It's more of, securing that position, because everyone is, there's a new company every day and there's people coming to steal that position constantly. So, and they're doing all those basic things like Yoast as well. So
Just do a website audit every few months, every 3 to 6 months, see where you are. I think that should keep you on top of your competitors. Unless you see, like, if you monitor your data monthly and you see just this drastic anomaly that happened, then I would say you need to check into it like yesterday and see what happened. Outside of that, if everything is pretty consistent, do a website audit every 3 to 6 months. Do an audit on your channels and see how they're performing. And that'll let if you got new competitors, if you dropped over the last 3 to 6 months because somebody introduced some new content or users are changing the way that they search, it'll let you know.
So when you say to do an audit, I know there's tools out there. What would you suggest?
It depends on how deep you want the audit to be. I believe I shared a Screaming Frog with you guys at the wedding
chamber
conversation we had. Yeah. Yes. And then we have HubSpot has a great audit tool. There's so many, and I use them all for different things.
I'll look into Screaming
But Rank
Frog.
Math gives you a very in-depth. SEMrush is another good one too.
Yeah, that's what I've used previously. I always thought it was SEMrush. Now I've learned something.
It is, but I call it SEMrush.
Well, now I do too.
Search Engine Marketing Rush.
Yeah, I want to sound smarter, so I'm gonna do what smart people do.
Thank you. But yeah, I think that's a really great tool. You can do so many things in there. So many things. We're talking SEO, but data is like my heart.
I do not do anything with SEO. So all this entire conversation is very overwhelming. And I know a lot of photo booth owners probably feel the same way. And I keep talking to Jason about how I have to really get on this because I rely heavily on a referral based business. But for someone like me where, I have the capability, I have the content, how do I go about even getting started on this path of moving towards getting my SEO aligned to where I mean, even just starting my SEO, how do I go about finding someone like you? Where do we find you? And what type of investment are we talking about?
Yeah.
How long are we talking about? I know you said it takes about 6 months, but realistically, how long are we talking about before we start to see the change in our business for someone like me that doesn't even do SEO at all?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say SEO is for sure an ongoing thing. And again, what you do on your other channels is going to help your organic search. So if you aren't doing much on your other channels, you aren't going to really have much help happening organically on your website either. I say I'm going to say 3 months because at the 3-month mark, if you were doing absolutely nothing and then you start to implement some things, you're going to start seeing some changes in your data for sure. So you can look at that and say, hey, I wasn't even ranking for this before. And now I got all these new keywords showing up. And then by the 6-month mark, you might start seeing an increase in traffic on your website. But I do want people to understand the difference between so I could do your SEO all day and you rank first. That has absolutely nothing to do with translation of cause. And, we're getting you where you need to be and you're getting clicks to your website.
How do we find someone like you? And what kind of investment are we talking about? Can you tell our listeners how they can find you and
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about doing SEO is even though you and I are in Las Vegas, you could help anyone in the world because it's
for sure. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com, Franisha Hayes. I am on Facebook and Instagram as well, Franisha Hayes on all channels except for TikTok. I'm there as a gamer, and then also you can contact me. My email is fhayes@kmj.vegas. And I think as far as an investment, you can start anywhere very small, $500, and SEO can go up anywhere to $2,000.
Are we talking initial investment? Are we talking about per month? What are we talking about when we're throwing out these numbers?
Depending on where you are in your foundation, yes, initial investment can start anywhere from 14. If you have had no SEO done or we're fixing some very bad SEO, if you have a huge website with lots of images that we got to go through and clean up the alt tags. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. I personally like to have a consultation with that person, see what their website is looking like. I'll do an audit, and then I'll give you a very realistic quote based on where you are. Because again, just because somebody else has this industry and I'm working on them for it doesn't mean they're going to have the same problems as you. So I like to do some very personalized quotes.
So it
Can
sounds
you
like
share?
there's like
Oh, I'm sorry.
initial cost to get you up to speed and then an ongoing monthly cost to keep you where you want to be.
Right, exactly. But some people don't even need that because some people already have some, like you said, some good SEO going, Jason. You've been in a great spot, but you just need some monthly reporting to make sure everything is where it is and maybe that quarterly audit, and then we can make a new plan for you. If there needs to be something new implemented or adjusted, then we pivot.
I like that.
Love to hear like a success story where you had someone reach out to you and they're in dire need of help, and like what you did to transform them and like their growth from the change investing in the SEO. I would love to hear something like that. Do you have anything recent that you could share with us?
Honestly, I just had someone come back to us where I recommended them have a website redesign because their website was really old and outdated, and we had been doing the SEO and their rank had improved. And I'm like, well, your bounce rate is really high, your engagement rate. And I'm sure a lot of it is because your website design is not user friendly, broken stuff going on here. So they went to a different company, got their website designed through, well, I'm not even a company, a friend designed their new site. And then they came back to us and goes, hey, my visibility is down. I haven't gotten any clicks and anything. So I go take a look at the site. Only thing that was changed was the design. Beautiful design, but all the content's the same, keywords the same, and that's what their developer said. And I go, oh, it's because you guys didn't re-index it with Google. So you guys make all these different changes to the website design, URL, like to pages that had been here for years. And then you didn't say, Google, hey, these things changed. So their visibility dropped. They stopped getting phone calls. And then I simply just went in and re-indexed it with Google. And after a few days, it started to rank back up. And that was literally in the wedding industry.
That's
So
awesome.
what does that entail? Like re-indexing with Google, you make it sound like a very quick and easy process. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Yes, it is it is. It's so that's part of the offsite SEO. You go to your Google Search Console and I wish I could screen share with you and give you a little clip of what and show you exactly how to do that. But you go to your Search Console and you take the link to the website that was updated and you submit it. There's an area that says resubmit, but not even just that either. You want to also make sure that your sitemap is accurate, submitted to Google Search Console. So if you had added pages, deleted pages, things like that, these things are still going to come up in search if you don't submit it to Google and say, hey, this has been removed from my website.
Yeah, and you just brought up something really solid that we never touched on that's really important, sitemaps. If you don't have a sitemap on your website, you definitely need to start there. It makes it very easy for Google to actually get around your website and see what's there.
Yes, and for sure, that's very important element. It tells what keywords and content, that's what Google is reading first when it does a search for you, reads the sitemap, and the sitemap is all of the navigational elements and then breaks it out into the site content and then to any blog post, any administrative blogging, all of that. So you can block things in the sitemap as well that you don't want appearing in search.
So before we leave, tell me a little bit about Codebreakers. Looking this over, I feel like some of our listeners would find that content useful in it.
For sure. So Codebreakers is a partnership between myself and Annalyn Braza. She is the owner of WebKitty, and they do web design as well over there. We have a lot of things in alignment, obviously, and we will be basically breaking the code to sophisticated and complex topics such as SEO, marketing, mindset as an entrepreneur and business owner. Our first episode is actually it's on Valentine's Day. So it's going to be about loving your hustle and how you have to have a certain mindset as an entrepreneur to keep going. Like, how do you love your hustle to keep going even when the times are hard?
There's a lot of hard times.
Right. So that's going to be our opening episode. But a lot of it is definitely going to be around mindset, marketing, conversations like I just did a SEO class for a bunch of elementary schools. Like, how do you teach SEO to elementary kids? So yeah, we're just going to be breaking down complex conversations. We really enjoy doing that and making it understandable for users.
Yeah, maybe we should have given you a practice run and had you teach it to elementary school kids today.
Yeah.
But this episode right now is scheduled to be released on February 5th. So the episode you're talking about for yourself is Valentine's Day. So just like a week away, 9 days away from the time you're listening to this. Mark your calendar and go check that out.
Yeah, you can check us out at codebreakerspodcast.com.
So is there anything, like we've gathered questions from our listeners and things like that. Obviously, without knowing SEO, it's very easy for us to know we don't know what we should be asking. Like, is there anything that we should be asking that we didn't ask, I guess?
I think you guys asked a lot of great questions, and honestly, all of the right questions. From a professional standpoint, I think I can just reiterate what I said before when looking for someone, because it's the things that grind my gears are marketers who are just spit the jargon, like I said, people who are quick to just sign you up as another number as well. And I'm saying these things based off of what people have told me, why they have done business with me for so long. The authenticity, I'm going to say, if something is going wrong, I'm not going to talk about it like it's right and beat around the bush. Like, yes, this is very accurate, and then try to figure out. I'm not going to try to explain away the problem. So anybody who's trying to explain away something or can't really answer your question straight on.
Yeah, it's important, and you certainly came across extremely authentic when I saw you. I mean, we don't try to pack our podcast with just any expert we can in every field. Like we want people that are very relatable and I don't want to say vetted through us, but like people that I mean, it's our reputation. So we want people that are authentic and willing to have people reach out to them with follow-up questions and things like that. And certainly why I approached you, and I'm grateful that you agreed to join us today. It has been incredibly informative, and I know it's going to spawn a ton of more questions from our listeners. So.
I'm here. Reach out. Listen, if you want to do a second conversation.
Yeah, we may need to do a follow-up in a couple of months after the emails come in.
I absolutely love talking about these things. I love teaching, so I'm here for this for sure.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've got a lot of other hats too, so we may be able to tap into you for a different subject.
Yeah, Listen, I've been here for 11 years, and I started as the admin assistant, and I was in school for graphic design. So literally know the whole wheelhouse. I can create the graphics. I can push out the graphics. I can do the marketing. I can create the website. I can market the website.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
So if you need a website or SEO or graphics or
one-stop shop.
All right. Thank you so much, Franisha, for joining us today. And thanks for everyone for tuning in.
Thank you guys so much.
To keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group, ProBooth Talk Community. If you enjoyed this podcast, consider showing your support by subscribing, liking, reviewing, or sharing this topic with someone in the industry.